Sector 17 is the repackaged album of 17's fourth full-length album, Face the Sun. Sector 17 was released July 18th, 2022, with 4 new tracks and the single World as its title track. Face the Sun is the group's highest charting album, debuting at number 7 on the US Billboard 200. This album displays a more mature image from the group, a less of a fun and cheerful image the group has been known for. And while I'll be focusing on the 4 new tracks that came with Sector 17, I think it helps to give a little bit of context from Face the Sun. 17 in general are known amongst K-pop groups to be more involved in their writing and the production of all their songs. Notably, group member Woozi is credited as a writer in all of 17's songs. Group members Wonwoo, Mingyu, Dingo, S-Coups, Hoshi, and Vernon all contributed to songwriting on Face the Sun and Sector 17. According to the companion piece that Vernon had recorded with Apple Music, this album captures our ambition to become a force that resembles the sun, a one-of-a-kind being with unswerving influence. We wanted to portray the cathartic release of making the courageous choice to confront your inner shadows. It's pretty intentional that the last song on the Face the Sun album is called Ash, and it reopens with them reaching Sector 17. After confronting your own shadows and shortcomings, you are forced to shed these parts of you. This connects the 2 albums, ending in these ashes, and you're able to go into this idealized new world of Sector 17, a world that you can define and create as you wish. All right, now let's get into it. So Circles is definitely a more slower, down-tempo ballad. It's mostly with piano. It's quite gorgeous and pretty emotional. The Dingo's Tipsy Live that 17 did, Woozi was able to provide more context to his writing, citing that this is a message that he wanted to say to Wonwoo, his members, and to Carat. For reference, Wonwoo's mother passed away in April of this year, resulting in him needing to take some time off from 17's promotions prior to Face the Sun's release. Woozi's words of comfort, even if he doesn't know what to say to lessen the pain or sadness, wanted to remind you that the pain is temporary and that he's always right there next to you. Everything will fall back into place like hands on a clock. My only critique is I'm not a huge fan of these children's choruses, as it could be a little bit overdone to kind of like artificially inject some emotional resonance, but it is an effective emotional climax for the song when paired with the bridge that Woozi sings right before the final la la la's. World is a bright, refreshing pop track with some R&B elements. This is the title track of the repackaged album, Sector 17. This track best demonstrates the concept of the album, that from the ashes, the last song on Face the Sun, you can re-emerge to face the new world, a world that you can define as you wish. Personally, I do think this type of track demonstrates what 17 can do best. It's a bright track brimming with optimism. It has an addictive hook and chorus, catchy ad-libs and harmonies. While it's still pretty fun and flirty, which is pretty characteristic of 17, it's definitely a more polished track than what we're used to. One might argue maybe a little bit too polished, a little too clean, but I like it. Yes, so they finally released the Korean version of Falling Flower. This is originally a Japanese single that was released in 2020, but this is the Korean version. It is a beautifully written song talking about a lover relationship that's like a flower. Even when it succumbs to the changes in seasons that are natural in life, with its death and the falling petals scattered by the wind, in that pain there's still beauty. There's an appreciation that even if this love is over, it was beautiful for what it was and what you learned from it. There's a tone of optimism and appreciation even in its ending. And personally, I love DK's pre-chorus. It's pretty effective in this song. The song is a pretty slow build. It actually doesn't hit the chorus until over a minute into the song, but I think it works, allowing the emotion to kind of build up before the release of the chorus. And lastly, we have to talk about Cheers, y'all. Cheers is the second 17 Leaders subunit release. Basically a subunit made up of the 3 leaders of 17, S-Coups, who's the leader of the group, as well as leader of hip hop unit, Hoshi, the leader of performance unit, and Woozi, who is the leader of vocal unit. Like I said, this is the second leaders track after 2017's Change Up. It's an upbeat hip hop track. I think it's pretty fun. It's a very triumphant flex track. It's kind of meant to demonstrate basically that they've made it, and you can't really argue with that with the year that 17 has had. There's references to their building in the basement unit, how basically they had to make things work with limited resources, literally feeding 13 mouths. And this almost plays like a trap electronic track, almost like Migos or something analogous. I'm not a huge fan of the auto-tune or the vocal processing that they used in Cheers, but it is impossible to not move your pom-pom when hearing this song. Let me know what you thought of the new album. Did you get to see them on tour this year? I'm just gonna lie here now.